NASCAR heads to the Music City Nashville Superspeedway. Kind of an odd name because it's actually an intermediate track, actually just under 1.5 miles. Concrete, a very unique beast. I am now joined by Ryan Stevens from wintherace.info here to talk numbers, analytics, preview this upcoming Cup Series race. Ryan, I'm still reeling a bit from the Coca-Cola 600. Charlotte caught me a bit off guard. Trackhouse has not had great speed this year, yet in a backup car, Ross Chastain was able to rocket to the lead late. Gibbs Racing finally showed top 5 intermediate speed, and AJ Allmendinger continues to impress. Brad Keselowski with a top 5. What surprise Charlotte performance, in your opinion, can we put the most stock in?
Well, one thing that we're loving at Win the Race is we do our practice scores every week. And for Charlotte, it was real sticky, great information. And we're finding that's the case in this package. We had Chastain number one, goes to a backup car, but we had a lot of talks about that in Discord, and a lot of people that, we have a lot of people in Discord that get some garage time and talk to the guys and things like that. And it's nice to hear they're not worried a lot of times about going to a backup car. They bring it with the same setup. So I think that really showed out for Chastain. We had AJ number two. He finished top 5. We had Hocevar number 3. He was up there racing for the lead. Keselowski, we had number 6. He finished top 5, like you mentioned. So, yeah, I guess it was a little surprising, but in a long race, it was really cool to see the speed that the driver showed in practice show up by the end.
That's good. Love some consistency. So you're saying keep a close eye on Friday, Saturday this weekend, and it might tell the real story here. Well, we mentioned Ross Chastain. I think we should start with him because not only did he win the Coca-Cola 600, but he's a past Nashville Super Speedway winner. Last season, he led 45 laps and was battling Denny Hamlin for the win before the 5 overtimes broke out. He's got the second most laps led at Nashville in the next-gen era. Do you think that Trackhouse, or specifically Ross Chastain, are turning a corner here midway through the season?
Yeah, I'm excited about Chastain again, who, like we said, he just had the fastest car in this package, and now they head to Nashville, which could be his best track. He'll be pulling double duty again, driving the number 9 JRM car on Saturday. Always love seeing that. Worked out well for him last week. And, after hearing interviews with Chastain last week, it seems like Trackhouse had these 2 races kind of marked down on the schedule as potential winners. Just crazy they actually did it at Charlotte. But I think they know this is one of his best tracks as well, obviously having a win here with Trackhouse. Suarez has been just so-so lately, also here at Nashville. But SVG, I think we're seeing some improvement here. He showed up in practice last week, ends up with a top 15 finish in the Coke 600. I thought that was great. He also, he started in the back of the field in Xfinity and finished top 15 here last year as well at Nashville. So I think, there's something to point to here. Like Trackhouse has found a little bit of speed, a lot of it for Chastain, a little bit for the other guys. Hopefully Suarez can show up too. But if they're bringing one true rocket fast car again, I got to think that's probably going to Ross.
I like what you said about Ross, or about Shane Van Gisbergen, because if I'm not mistaken, it was around this time last year that SVG's crew chief Stephen Duran, working with Zane Smith, they started to turn their season around. I think it was in the Nashville race last summer that Zane kind of grinded his way to that second place finish and turned that into a pretty respectable second half of the 2024 season. But last year's Nashville race, we've already talked about it, kind of ended in disaster with 5 overtimes, cars wrecking, running out of fuel. I mean, even before then, Christopher Bell dominated the first 2/3 of the race, got back in traffic and wrecked. I mean, Denny Hamlin looked to be in position to win that race. So that tells me maybe Toyota will be faster. Do you think Gibbs Racing could be the team to beat this Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, JGR will have 3 drivers that should be going out in the last 10 to go out for qualifying, which has been an advantage this year for most drivers. And Hamlin's won the pole here in 2 out of the 3 Gen 7 races. And when Chastain won the pole, multiple GGR cars still made the final round of qualifying. So with them going out late, I expect them to be running up front. We talked a little bit before this segment here. The drivers who have started on the pole have led a lot of laps. They've been really good here. More drivers starting top 5 in general, barring the late race, whatever you want to call it last year. It's fuel-saving mayhem. But yeah, there've now been, 7 races in this intermediate package. Bell and Briscoe are 2nd and 4th in average finish. So I do expect them to start up front, run up front, and be there at the end.
Kyle Larson, we all know, had a rough weekend between Indianapolis, Charlotte, but this could be a great opportunity for him to bounce back quickly because he has the best average finish in the next gen car at Nashville, 5.7, and he has one here, though that was in the Gen 6 car. How do you feel about Kyle Larson? Do you think he'll bounce back?
Yeah, I think he can. He's been the man in this package this year. Just look at the races he's won. They're all different too. It's in this intermediate package, but you go to Bristol, it's a short track, no tire wear. He dominates and wins. Go to Homestead, high tire wear, the preferred top lane against the wall. He wins that one. Go to Kansas, intermediate with medium tire wear, multiple lanes, goes out, dominates and wins that one. Um, he'll go off early in qualifying, and like we said, that's hurt some people this season. He's always qualified top 5 to 10 here and maintain that position all race. If he does qualify mid pack, it'll be fun to watch him fight his way to the front, which we've seen him do, a ton throughout his career. The other twist, is that this race is being ran much earlier in the season now. It's being ran at night. The sun will be down. The temperature will continue to drop, throughout the race. So I do think we could see, some surprises in this race as well.
Yeah, I think we talked about that before we hit record because it is essentially a night race. We saw Charlotte when the track got darker, got a little cooler. It felt like the leaders were able to swap the lead. Something about this car and slightly cooler temperatures, night racing could lead to some more passing opportunities, comers and goers, guys who do or don't keep up with track changes. Let's talk about a surprise winner because that's what we could open the door to this weekend. We kind of saw a surprise finish last year with Logano and Zane Smith finishing 1-2. If I recall, Ryan Preece snuck into the top 5 last season. Preece has a couple of Truck Series wins here in recent years, someone to maybe keep an eye on. Chase Briscoe, we've talked about Joe Gibbs Racing. He comes into this race with back-to-back top 5 finishes. I'm just throwing some names out there, but Ryan, I want to know, is there a dark horse maybe that catches your eye for this Sunday?
Yeah, I'll try to keep this fresh. I switched it up from Hocevar last week. Probably shouldn't have done that. He was, a rocket again. But we'll keep this fresh here. I'll go with AJ Allmendinger. You mentioned, Priest has won here in the other series. Well, so has AJ, won here in Xfinity. I'll just start with a little track history with AJ here. His first Gen 7 Cup race here in 2022, he finished 19th. We come back in 2023. He wins the Xfinity race, finishes top 10 in Cup, and finished both stages inside the top 10. So he's running up there all day. Last year, he finished 7th in Xfinity, but he did finish both stages in second place. So he was running up front. That 7th is a little misleading of how the race ended for him. He finished 11th in the Cup Series. Now, 11th doesn't sound great when he finished 10th the year before, but that's 10 spots higher than his average finish in this package last year. So you come to Nashville, it's like figure something out, runs really well. Now we look at what he's bringing this year. Through 7 races in the intermediate package, he's 6th best in true average running position in those races. He's behind only Larson, Byron, Reddick, Hamlin, and Blaney, who we all look at, as the elite in this package. He has 4 top 10 finishes in those 7 races. That's behind only Larson, Bell, and Chastain. So, he was second in our practice scores last week. Like I said, he went off early in qualifying and still qualified in the top 5. If they bring any speed like that this week and he's going off late in qualifying, hopefully he can qualify well and be running up front all day again. So give me AJ Allmendinger for my long shot pick of the week.
I'm just shaking my head over here while you're talking, not because I disagree, but because I'm just flabbergasted that AJ Allmendinger, Colleague Racing have brought so much speed to traditional intermediates this year. He's not just a road course merchant. He's not lucking into good super speedway results. No, they're getting it done at difficult tracks, and they sort of share a campus, or they're next door to Richard Childress Racing up there in Welcome, North Carolina, and they're outrunning the Richard Childress cars pretty often. Yeah. So I like that AJ Allmendinger pick quite a bit. Ryan Stevens, thank you so much for joining the show this week. Fans, you can find more of Ryan's great analytical work and expertise at wintherace.info. Link is down in the description. And follow Ryan on Twitter. Good Twitter follow as well. I'll put that down in the description as well. Ryan, appreciate you being on the show. We'll talk to you again soon, man.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. Enjoy Nashville.